I'd like to call a regular scheduled meeting to order at 6:30. Are there any additions to the agenda?
No, Your Worship.
Your Worship,
Yes?
I'd like to add an item on to 12.1. Advice from officials for FOIP. FOIP 24, subpara 1, subpara B, subpara I.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Your Worship.
If we could we add under 9.4, pool?
Okay, thank you. Looking for a motion. Councilor Butcher, there's a motion to accept the agenda as amended. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. 5.1, we have a delegation this evening from the Redwater Fitness Center. Andrea, Gary, Myron, you guys all there?
Hello.
Hi guys, we're in your hands.
Oh, where did they go? They were visual.
There we are.
Hi.
Hey guys, we're in your hands.
Sure, okay. So just Andrea and I tonight will be just giving a summary of what our ask is and just to discuss it with the council.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I guess just looking at the terms of the agreement that we had set out, like it's 2.5 years goes by pretty fast. So I guess it was about this time that we were going to look at the at the contract and discuss it regardless. So the timing is pretty close. I think it was April 2021 is when we were going to look at this anyways. Basically what our ask today is on behalf of the fitness center, because of this current situation that's been going on in the world, and what all fitness centers and everybody's had to deal with this COVID epidemic. We were hoping to see if we can ask for the remaining 2 years of this 5-year contract be in the same fashion at $1 million, just to allow us to keep things moving forward, get out from under the bog down that's happened due to nobody going to the gym for the last year and a half. So we are looking to see if that would be something to be considered by the town, and that we can continue to make our payments, our lease payments to the for the equipment, and our operating costs, just to keep things moving along. And really, that's what our ask is today.
Thank you for that. How are you guys doing financially? Do you have a bank account? Like, is it completely drained, or are you hanging in there?
We're hanging in there. Andrea could probably give a better description of how it's going. We've always, from day one, we made sure that we had a buffer in place, so we always kept between $10,000 and $15,000 in our receipts. Made sure that we'd have at least 3 to 4 months of equity of finance available to take care of those things. So we've had a few donations along the way. We've actually had some long-standing members that just continue to pay their memberships, which has been appreciated. So it's kept everybody afloat. We're seeing around $6,500-ish in our account right now, which is good for a couple of months if we didn't have any business, if nothing came back. But we've had a tremendous response. We've been reaching out to people. People are inquiring to see, of course, when these restrictions will be lifted. To see that we'll be back in business, and so far, how we see it is probably by mid-month we should be able to get the doors open, at least to get some sort of a routine going with people, so they can they start getting on with fitness, and we can start taking more members.
Excellent. At this point, I'm just going to open it up for questions or comments. Councilor McCray.
Your Worship, through to Gary and Andrea. Without COVID, before COVID and what have you, how did you find your business model working? Did you find it acceptable to the community, and was it working well for the people that were using the facility?
Yes, thanks, Dave. Yes, I think we were doing quite well, actually. We had really good response from our members. We had a progressive increase in membership. Pretty much, it kind of hovered around 130 members were our full-time memberships, which gave us around in the $60,000 a year range. which allowed us to operate. Didn't allow us to do much more, but it allowed us to, pay our direct operating costs and lease the equipment. But now, and we had a bunch of programs as well before, and things have dropped off, of course, because of what's gone on. But during this time, Andrew's actually got a list here. There's probably more than half a dozen new programs that people want to continue on with, everything from from yogas to dance to their senior wellness programs, hip hop dancing, step classes for seniors, youth movement, stretch classes. So there's been a lot of a lot of things now that are going to be available to get going. But to answer the question, yeah, we were doing well. We were kind of right on par with our business model where we thought we would be. And we were glad to see that, and we think we were actually getting, the longer we were there, the more people were getting comfortable with being in the town and happy to see it. Even a lot of new faces. And we've had a lot of phone calls as of late. People that are not from on the list, on our regular list, that are interested in joining the gym.
Excellent.
That's good.
And Andrea, did you have something you wanted to say?
Actually, Gary, I feel you know that already.
Sorry.
You took the words literally right out of my mouth. Thank you for asking.
Councilor Butcher.
Well, it's good to see you guys still plugging along. Still have smiles on your face, and
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad it's working for you.
Actually, no matter what happens, you guys have done so damn much work, you should be just proud as hell. You've done something, to be quite honest, we didn't think you could.
Well, we're still gonna
I had faith in you.
I'm dead.
we know. Well, we would be here with the support of yourself in the town and council, but it all works hand in hand. And we really think it's a benefit to the town, and it's actually just a new, everybody's getting, going again, and we see a lot of energy and a lot of excitement towards the facility and incorporating more things within the town that we want to do and work with it, more stuff together. I think it's a bit different.
Gary, you in particular, and I had spent an awful lot of time going through the facility and looking at options and what have you. Is that system that you have for access and egress working, or do you see tweaks to it, or what do you see in the future that's needed?
Okay, as in entry from the back door entrance?
We had discussions about whether that was going to work or whether it did work or how it works or anything like that.
Yeah, actually, I'll let Andrea answer this because it's come up as of late, and I won't take the words from her mouth. But there was some questions about seniors and access from the front, but for the most part.
What has come up in the past as well is seniors wellness programs that we trying to put in place. When we took the ability away for them to be able to use the front entrance, just, I don't mean everybody, just for seniors and for our massage studio that has laying back issues, to be able to, just for those folks, select, to be able to use the front entrance into the elevator. Again, when we spoke in the past, that it would be parameters of the office hours until 5 p.m. or whatever they may be, present. So that has come up quite a lot. Walking up the flight of stairs, I know it's kept quite a few, including my mother-in-law. She won't come to the gym because she just can't do it.
Okay, no, good comment.
Good, thanks.
Further comments? Yes.
I was just wondering, does, like, two areas that I'm kind of thinking about are the school and people from Diamond Springs. Do they participate in anything there directly? Or is it individuals that are coming in on their own?
From the high school, obviously with the age group, we did have a specialty rate for students that would come to the gym. So we do have, I couldn't exactly tell you right at the moment how many, which would revamping some info. But they're definitely a handful. As far as Diamond Springs Lodge, I would have to take a look in there and see how many if any of them have. I know we've had, quite a few seniors outside that they brought to our attention, so I had to look into that one further.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Your worship, whenever any group comes to the town council about getting any the rent relief or any advantage, we would like to ask about the financial statements. Have you guys submitted any financial statements to Garnet or to the town office in the past, or are you planning, have you completed any financial statements by your group?
Yeah, I mean, we can provide our averages, I guess, what we have, how we work our banking. It's pretty straightforward with member beef, but, yeah, we can provide, information basically how we operate, where our trends are and how we do business. Yeah, that's no problem. And we do get, all of our books are done, through the accountants and done, properly. So there's documentation of everything that happens. Sure.
One last question, I promise. In total, how many months did you actually lose due to COVID shutdown?
Well, I guess it'd be about, just a guess, but I'd say about 12 to 14 months.
Okay.
Be pretty close in there. Because once they started to clamp down there about this time last spring, did they have one, I forget if they had one where they closed and then they opened again? Under restrictions, I don't recall exactly, but let's say we had a solid year. Yeah.
At least, yeah.
At least. Good, thanks.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Further comments? Do you have anything that you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, so I met with Gary and Andrea, and we had a conversation and talked about exactly this particular subject before they came to council with delegation, and I'm supportive of the fitness center and what they're proposing.
Thank you, because I don't believe at this point we would have added anything into our upcoming budget. We're not there yet.
Yep, correct.
We haven't set anything up.
That's correct. Yeah, we haven't budgeted for any money to come out of that area yet.
Okay. Okay, guys, you know what? We'll have a little bit of discussion about it, and let admin come up with something and bring it back to us for a motion eventually, one way or the other.
Okay, thank you.
We want to thank you very much for everything you've done, and thank you for bringing this to our attention. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Later.
Okay, bye.
See you guys.
Okay, item number 6, adoption of the minutes of the May 18th meeting. Councilor Dorsch. I'll just call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And for a motion to accept the minutes of the May 25th Committee of the Whole meeting. Councilor Butcher. Thank you. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Business arising out of the minutes and unfinished business. Go to number 9, new business. Integrity management.
Your worship, as per the requirement for owning and operating a natural gas utility, the operator, in our case the town, is required to incorporate and adopt an integrity management program, IMP. This IMP assists owners in understanding their responsibilities in relation to design, operation, and maintenance to ensure the system is safe for our customers, employees, and general public. And this is the one of the requirements from Federation of Gas Co-op, that we adopt this IMP and review by the council on annual basis. And I know this document was prepared in the past in 2015 and 16, but we didn't had any chance to review on annual basis. So this came up in our recent operation and maintenance audit that needs to be reviewed and signed off. So that's why I put together this RFD to bring it to the council and get it adopted.
Excellent, thank you. Councilor Olson.
I'd like to make a motion that the town of Redwater adopt the updated gas utility integrity management program as presented.
Discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. Attached to the request for decision is a 6-page document, the actual integrity management program. When you read through it, there is a requirement for council to actually be responsible for it. So with respect to fiduciary responsibility and what have you, I have to ask the question, are we following this guideline?
Yes, Your Worship, through the council, yes, we are.
Yeah, and I think we adopted that 2 years ago, maybe 3, yeah. Good, thank you. Councillor Olson?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, it's just beneficial for the town, the town's residents, and our utility workers that, you know, we maintain this program.
And it's also very important for our liabilities.
Yes. Insurance liabilities.
If we are not showing the world that we're doing our utmost to make sure things are safe and accounted for and everybody's healthy, that well, we could certainly pay for it in the long run. Thank you. Okay, further discussion? I will call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. 9.3, Mr. Davidson.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, councillors. I'll start the long haul here. I've got 3 in a row now, I believe, with the addition.
9.2.
I think I missed 9.2.
Correct.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Either way, it's, darn it.
It's me all the way.
We'll go to you.
Header. Yes, as you're aware, this is the header and U-bend replacement addition to the ice plant project. I won't go through the background proposal, as we're all aware of what that is, other than to say the entire project covering the renovation slab replacement, which is on hold, and ice plant have $2.6 million available to complete all 3 projects. Discussions, options and benefits, disadvantages. During the original tender process, Simcoe had suggested and subsequently added a number of optional extras for the project. 2 of the optional extras listed on the proposal was a header replacement and U-bend replacement on the lines running through and in the arena slab itself. The advantages to this being all components in the refrigeration system will be new, with the exception of the slab itself and the lines running within the slab. Upgrade from steel to HDPE with a longer useful life. Brine and system will run cleaner and be cleaner. Less chance of corrosion. As we know, brine, salt attacks steel, causing a lot of contaminants in the brine system. Longer extension to pad life, as current headers are steel, and we'll wait and see, but we expect they've taken some corrosion from the brine. In speaking with Simcoe, the estimate is approximately another 10 years on the header, and at maximum, and if replaced, we'd be looking at a minimum of 20. Old U-bends, in previous COW meeting, I'd brought up that I was a little bit skeptical of replacing the U-bends based on the pipe itself. I reached out to Simcoe, had a good conversation with some of their engineering, and they've assured me that they will be cutting the lines, machining the U-bends for a perfect fit, and so that each one will be individually measured and machined, and so make sure they put no undue stress on there, and then sealing. Maintenance batch of shaler is obviously included in this price, which is important. All old brine will be removed, so we'll have a flushed, fresh system. And Simcoe estimates the pad has at least around another 20 years of life, judging by the condition of the slab. And as we've seen, the shaler has sealed the system there. So there's a lot of good advantages. Obviously, the disadvantages being additional cost of the project. Existing header is only 12 years old. Again, we'll inspect that, but Simcoe has definitely recommended we replace it. I wouldn't expect anything less. But when the pad is eventually replaced, it's likely that these components will no longer be needed unless we decide on the same version of a pad that we have right now. And strategic alignment, connected communities, good governance, and service excellence. Cost source of funding, portion of the work was awarded at 802,921, forms part of the 2.6 million borrowing for the entire 3 projects. The addition will add an extra 89,375 and will bring the total cost of the project 892,296, with the further addition of AE's tender review at 9K and change, brings the total to 901,641, which is within the current budget amount of $1,010,845. Recommended action, option 1, move the council instruct administration to move forward with the proposed replacement of the header system in steel U-bends as quoted by Simcoe at $89,375. Or option 2, move the council instruct administration not to move forward with the proposed replacement of the Pembina Place header system and steel U-bends.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Councillor Dorsch.
I'd like to make a motion that council instruct administration to move forward with the proposed replacement of the header system and the steel U-bends as quoted by Simcoe at $89,375.
Thank you. Discussion? Councillor Butcher.
I agree with the motion that's been put forward, Your Worship. It's still within our budgetary boundaries. We are not asking for an extension or increase on costs at this time. And as per Mr. Davidson's report, it looks like it's going to help us keep the place in better shape.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion? Okay. You know, I think that's it's probably $90,000 well spent. You know, you can never go wrong by making things 100%.
Yeah, I'd like to do it right the first time. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep.
Well, in this pad life, getting 20 years out of it, we were looking at replacing it, and that's almost $1 million right there. So if we can get to another 20 years out of it, that's substantial.
We'll have it paid for
Yeah.
before we have to do it.
And I wonder how that came about.
Okay, further discussion? I will call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. No, now we can go to 9.3.
Yeah, here comes the hard one. So this is RFD on the HVAC and structural contingency addition. I'll go right through this from top to bottom. As discussed in previous council meetings, an RFP was issued on December 4th, 2020 for public tender for the Pembina Place renovation project. With a close date of 2 p.m. December 22nd. On January 19th, thanks for the pickup, Councillor McRae, for the typo there, 2020, Council awarded the HVAC structural project to Clark Builders at $791,572.50. Of note there, as we were, our award was obviously quite over what was budgeted originally from AE Engineering. The entire project covering the renovation slab replacement on hold in the plant, as stated previously, have $2.6 million available to complete all 3 projects. Discussions points. The HVAC and structural project to date is running on schedule. We've seen no personnel issues or safety concerns, which has been great. What we have seen is 5 change orders for issues necessary to be rectified, changed, or an alternative found. Just like if you're doing a renovation, I'm sure most, if not all of you, have done renovations on your kitchen or your bathroom. Once you pull the walls apart and you have a look at what's in there, sometimes you catch those things that are really unexpected and they come out of the blue. Mold, et cetera. With us, it's asbestos and paint and some areas a little bit of under engineering. So the 5 change orders to date, you're looking at $12K for the 5-door addition. What this does is brings the arena area back up to code. Currently, it's not in code, just because the doors aren't there. We don't have a sprinkler system in that building. If it was to go up, we would be wearing a big liability suit. Second change order at $14K and change was the joist paint addition. The drawing showed a certain amount of joists, and we came up with a few more. And so that again is an engineering, for want of a better word. CO3 additional steel for the MAU platform. So this is an engineering issue where a piece of equipment was ordered. Once it starts coming in and dimensions, weights are looked at, a couple of pieces of steel were needed just to reinforce it a little better. That was recommended by Clark. CO4 exterior wall abatement. As we know, we've just done an asbestos inspection and hazardous materials inspection in there, and we knew we had asbestos in those walls, being the age of the arena, especially the arena itself. those 4 walls are loaded with vermiculite. So bringing the HVAC system through the walls, we had to do an abatement on those walls. CO5 is the arena lighting. Keep in mind this price is not with the MCCAC grant, which I expect that we will get. So that will come down significantly. By how much right now, I'm not 100% sure, as they'll allocate as per how they feel about it. So the total change with the change orders is 85,459. With the change orders being necessary for the project, go ahead and maintain schedule for the September ice season. Change orders have been approved and administration have already applied. Those just to keep the project on schedule. This point, it is necessary to use some of the allocated slab replacement funds to cover the change orders by way of 15% contingency. That's what I'd like to add to the awarded amount. Of $791,572.50, contingency will total $118,736.50. These funds will bring the allocated project funds to $910,308.50 and allow the project to continue on with change orders accounted for and some further room for unseen issues that may arise, if they arise. The $118K increase to this project doesn't affect the ability of the town to continue with the planned future slab replacement of these funds. Still allow for a substantial contingency on the slab replacement of approximately $250K, give or take, and fall inside the borrowed amount of $2.6 million for all 3 projects. I did provide you with an Excel that showed the slab ranges, even at with the 822, 527 left over, we've still got a substantial contingency. And again, that 822, 577, 25 does not include the balance funds of 109,204 and 33,276 that are currently left over, exceeding totals. So that 109K could jump onto that 822 if there's no further changes to the ice plant. I don't see many changes to the ice plant. It's pretty cut and dried so far. It's moving along smoothly. Obviously, the addition of these 2 pieces hopefully won't bring anything extra with it. I don't think it will. Strategic alignment, connected communities, good governance, service excellence. Cost source of funding, the portion of the work was awarded at $791,572.50, forms part of the $2.6 million borrowing for the entire 3 projects. The addition of 15% contingency to the awarded amount for this project bring total $910,308.50 and be part of the $2.6 million borrowing. The capital budget currently reflects $668,631 for the project, which we already spoke to earlier. Recommended action, move that council approve the addition of 15% contingency to the awarded contract amount $791,572.50, bringing the total amount for the HVAC and structural project to $910,308.50. Yeah, sorry. As I said, just referring to the spreadsheet I'd provided. Again, the total for both projects as they stand right now is $1.777472.75. And again, that does include the 2 balances, but that'll move on to the slab at that point.
Thank you. Looking for a motion. Councilor McKay.
Yes, Your Worship. I'll move the council approve the addition of a 15% contingency of $118,736 to the awarded contract amount of $791,572.50, bringing the total amount for the HVAC and structural project to $910,308.50.
Thank you. Discussion? Councilor Olson.
Thank you, Your Worship, through the granite. The fire rated doors, those are the exterior, or?
No, they're interior doors.
Oh, that'd be like for the change rooms and that?
So right on the edge of the arena, so you've got the hallway,
Yeah.
and then you've got the dressing rooms on the east. On the west side, all those doorways are open. So unfortunately, when that was first done, because there's no sprinkler system in that, it took me quite a while of digging because I wondered what the purpose of the doors there were. Got through to the inspections group, who did confirm that those doors were in place as part of fire code, and they were there because of the fact we don't have a sprinkler system. The dressing rooms have a sprinkler system. The arena itself does not. And so what you'll also notice is on the windows of the gym, there's fire shutters.
Yeah.
And on the Zamboni room and the boiler room, there's fire shutters that slam down there as well. So they're all there to contain any blaze that occurs right inside that building and stop it from moving to the rest of the building. In order for that code to be correct, in order for us to be legally correct, we have to have those doors in place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question, MAU platform, what's that?
Yeah, so that's the platforms. You'll see one on the north and the south end, the brand new blue enclosure that was grey for a couple of weeks. What will sit on there is air handling units. So that's the new they're the new systems for the HVAC.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they came in a little heavier, I guess, than they had planned for, and so they needed a little bit of structural support.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, further comments, questions? I will call the question. All in favor? Carried. Excellent. Moving right on to reports.
No, I'm going for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I had it here too. 9.4. Mr. McCray.
Thank you, Your Worship. At our regular council meeting of April 20th, we approved Resolution 21-103 that identified the closure of the Redwater pool for the 2021 season, reallocating those budgeted funds to be placed in reserves for future maintenance or possible replacements. This decision was based on several factors, the most important being those of the provincial government's assessment of restriction relaxation due to COVID-19 and staffing issues that may or may not be available during the summer. At the time, that information was the best we had, and I think we made a good decision based on that information. Since then, there's been some changes within the province. Most importantly, on May 26th, the provincial government announced new restriction guidelines relevant to COVID-19. Phase 1 began today, and with the latest update, it's possible that some of the restrictions for Phase 2 will be implemented as early as June 10th, and that the possibility exists for Phase 3 to come on late June or early July. The restrictions right now are based on percentage of vaccinations and hospitalizations, but that will change for Phase 3. It'll just be percentage of vaccinations. There won't be any hospitalization figure go into that decision. Based on that information, we could have as much as 8 weeks of an operating window for late June, or 6 or 7 weeks for early July. Pool operation was included in our budget discussions, so therefore there is a budget for the operating of the pool this year. Although if we did use that budget, we would ultimately reduce any reserves at year end that were planned or could have come about. I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that we would attempt to complete a full season of programming like was provided a couple, 3-4 years ago with lessons and everything else. But I'm suggesting that perhaps some sort of a modified schedule might allow for some swimming to occur during the months of July and August. By reducing the service level, we would also reduce the required number of staff and the overall employee cost for the year. Other options like restricting persons to certain time frames or days of the week could result in more persons being served if capacity limits were affected by COVID restrictions. And even though we're late at looking for staff, there's a possibility we might be able to put some staff in place, and if we had some staff, maybe we could have some swimming. Recent news stories have shown that many students are finding summer employment difficult. And maybe topping up wages is the answer if we have the room in the budget, I don't know, but maybe that's an incentive. I think we currently have enough outside staff that could assist to prepare the pool for operation, and I noticed today that the pool was being pumped out, so I can only assume that we're in that process of getting it ready to winterize again. And so it certainly can't be overly expensive to start it up again. But just to be clear, I'm only suggesting a modified service level. Some of the ideas that ran through my head was maybe a single 8-hour shift a day rather than a early morning, late night type of an operation window, maybe 5 days a week instead of 7, packages, whatever works that would help perhaps put some of our youth into the swimming pool this summer. And it's a big ask. It's a tight time frame. Whether or not we could even get the staff would be, in my opinion, probably the toughest parameter for revisiting this. But I'm just asking my fellow councillors to have a discussion with respect to it as to how they feel, and maybe ask administration what they think they might be able to do.
Thank you. Mr. Davison.
All right. We were indeed pumping out the pool today. Not for winterization though, but because we're getting ahead of the bouncing ball. We might have predicted that this might occur as soon as the announcements were made. So what we did is we're pumping out the pool. We actually have automated aquatics coming in next week, Friday, sorry, to clean the pool. Today I had Jack Inc. in doing some final inspection pieces on there. There's one little item left to do. They will be coming back next week to do that. Can we open the pool by July? Yes, we can. Can we find the staff? That's a wild card. That's pretty much where we're at. So as I said, we got ahead of the ball a little bit here. We made sure we were in the pool getting everything done. We arranged for people to come in and get the things done that needed to be done. But again, I've reached out to a couple of people to see what staffing looks like. Many have moved on to other positions because they couldn't find pool work. But in saying that, the amount of guards we get will ultimately decide the amount of hours we can run and what we can do. At the very least, I would say we can have swimming. We just won't have programming, is what I would say. That's what I could likely promise at the moment, given we can get the staff.
That's fair. And, you know, on a year like this, that's fair. Councilor Butcher.
Well, I know the place inside out. You could have it up and running, like you said. My concern is like to Councilor McCray when you said we could have 8 hours of swim. I think we need to look and find out how many persons we can have in the pool at that time.
Yep.
Have we checked with Thorhill to see what their schedule is like? Because you're not going to have a full-out public swim. You're not going to be able to do that. You may be able to have family rentals. We won't be able to have lessons because some of our people will not be able to afford to rent the pool for a family swim. They won't be able to afford this. There is some inequity for the community if we do open the pool, because not all of our public will be able to use it. So those are my questions, and especially the time frames as to how many persons in that pool at a time.
Yeah, I'll just double check. I did state July, correct?
Yes.
For opening? Perfect. For some reason, I had June floating around in my head, and I said that. July, yes, we can. If the province is swung wide open and the doors are busted open, as Premier Kenny is telling us at the moment, then depending on the guards, again, that'll determine how many hours we can run. And it'll also determine how many people we can have in the pool based on how many guards we have.
Exactly.
So to that degree, we're left at really we're left at the whim of how many guards we can get. That will determine a lot of things. Outside of that, all we can say, as I stated before, we're pretty stuck in reference to how many people we get, and that'll determine everything. The second wild card will be that how accurate has the province been to date? Right, not very accurate in telling us they're going to open here and they're going to do this at this date.
Yeah, because we could have everything ready to go, and then they'll put restrictions back
Right,
in.
and that's the one thing we're a little bit worried about. Outside of that, I think if the ask is that we can open in July and we can have people swimming, I think we can do that.
Thank you. Councilor Spicer?
I know there's a lot of problems with it, and I know that it will be difficult. I'd ask that we support this and that we go ahead with this, because this community needs something. We need a bright spot, and whether that be 8 hours a day or 6 hours or 2 days a week or 3 days a week, whatever we can make work, I think we should make it work.
Yep. Councillor Dorsch.
Typically, the pool has hygiene policies in place that are geared to sanitation safety for all patrons all the time. So, like I know that because of the COVID fears, like it may have to be heightened somewhat, but it is always clean for that reason, just because of the nature of it. With the COVID restrictions starting to be relaxed right now, I would like to pursue the potential opening. If we can, I would really like to go ahead with this and get it open.
I just wanted to make, I wasn't against opening the pool. My concerns were just that the majority of the public would have access to it. If we make it too stringent, there's some that may not have access. But of course, I would never say close the pool. Once I did one.
I guess, to be honest, at this point, it's still not up to us. It's still up to the province. And whether or not we can get people to man it.
Your Worship, just to be crystal clear, the purpose of my analogies was just to say, if, capital IF, everything works out, even if it's just a partial opening, even if it's just 5 guards instead of 12, or whatever our numbers are, if we can do something to get that door open and be careful about doing it and making sure that, like Councillor Dorsch says, we're controlled and we're looking after things. I'm on board with Councillor Butcher 110% on that. That's what we've got to look at.
Yep. Further discussion? Well, I think everybody's right. I mean, we know that our residents look forward to the pool opening. And the only reason that we had determined that it should be closed is because we didn't expect it to be allowed to open until the end of July, 1st of August.
Yeah.
There's something happening within the government that made them go back on this and open this. We probably have 17 MLAs to thank for that, but that's enough.
A whole lot of voters too.
As soon as you find out, what we can do, and I'm sure you're going to be making some phone calls to see what you can get for staffing. I would think that that's probably the best thing to do. And I think it's a great idea to not to have to worry about lessons. Not for this year.
No.
It's more important just to get bodies in the pool. But that being said, if we can only open for family swims, I think we should revisit it, because it's just too expensive. You're looking at $40 an hour for 5 people, and it costs us $120 an hour to have staff there. I think we have to revisit it. But take a look at it, do what you can do. I think we'll probably have to come up with a motion there to have to do that.
So, Your Worship, we will review the staffing and all the budget and financial implications, and we'll bring it back the RFD on June 15th meeting.
Yeah, I would hope that things will be
Moving
in
anyway.
place by then. You'll have your,
Yeah, we'll be moving. If the inclination right now is to go ahead, then we'll be moving to try and get it going.
I believe that's the direction council wants.
You can make a motion.
Your Worship, I'm more than willing to make the motion that we direct administration to move forward at looking at opening the pool with the restrictions that it has to be viable and it has to be valuable.
I'm okay with that. And if it's doable, do it. If it's not, we tried. Okay. Further discussion?
Can I just ask a question? We're talking about losing money on the pool. Do we not lose money every single year on the pool?
$100,000.
Yeah.
They're sending
So if we're gonna lose,
Well, no, but it depends on how much we lose. If we can only have, families of 5 at a time, and we're gonna expect it to be open full hours, we'll lose 200.
and not have anybody rent the pool for the
Yeah.
other 4 hours of the day, right? Yeah. But if we can rent it for those 5 hours a day, we're gonna lose money regardless.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay?
And thank you for being proactive.
Oh, no problem.
Just experience talking. 1 day to fill the pool, 3 days to heat and chemical.
And
And
month or so to
we
try
can
and
do
find
it.
staff.
We can do it.
Yeah, I know. I believe we can do it. As I said, it'll come down to staff and direction from the province will be a big factor. If we hit the vaccination rates and they kick the doors open on July 1st, then we're looking good.
You might even want to just touch base with our MLA and say, listen, we don't want to outlay a bunch of money if you guys are going to stop it.
Exactly.
Your Worship, the last that I did hear, and this is purely media providing the information, is that if we move to 80% vaccination rate, 2 weeks after we hit that mark, no regard for hospitalizations, just once we've hit that mark of vaccinations for anybody 12 and over, then all restrictions are being removed. And that's the phase 3. So that would mean we open the door for $2 a head or whatever it is that our fees and policies.
Yeah, I think if they're looking at having the stampede and they're gearing up for that, then it'd take a fair bit to swing it back the other way now, I believe.
The ball's rolling.
That's right.
But with that said, Klondike Days is canceled. They canceled it today.
Yeah.
But that was the association, was it not, Your Worship?
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe it
I think it
was.
was. It wasn't the province or anything.
No, it would have been the city.
Yeah.
We still have to be responsible.
We'll have Iverson.
When are you gonna come out of retirement, maybe?
What?
Come out of retirement for the pool?
I will call the question. All in favor? Carried. Excellent. Now we can go to reports.
Yeah, if you want to.
Council Butcher.
May 4th council meeting, May 6th CAO resume review, 11th CAO interviews, 12th CAO interviews, 13th the CAO interview and Rose Ridge meeting. May 18th is council meeting, and May 25th was the CAO interview. May 25th committee of the whole, and today's meeting, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Olson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Since the last council meeting, we had the CA interview and committee of the whole on the 25th. And yesterday, myself and Councillor McCrae had our Water Commission's bylaw and policy subcommittee meeting, and it looks like, I think, from the email threads, we should have all the bylaws that need to be done for the federal or provincial government should be going to vote on the 14th of June, so. And that is it, Your Worship.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Spicer, do you have anything to add to your report?
Nothing to add, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Worship. Council meeting, May 4th, CAO review the 6th, CAO interviews 11th, 12th, and 13th. Council meeting on the 18th, committee of the whole on the 25th, community service 26th, and the meeting tonight.
Thank you. Councillor Dorsch.
Tuesday, May 4th, council meeting. Wednesday, May 5th, library board meeting. It was a Zoom meeting. Thursday, May 6th, CAO review. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, May 11th to 13th, CAO review interviews. Tuesday, May 18th, council meeting. Tuesday, May 25th, the CAO interview and committee as a whole meeting. Wednesday, May 26th, community services meeting. Some of the upcoming events will include, included the town planting bee Thursday, May 27th at 11 o'clock, and the flowers look real pretty that we planted. Possible grad ceremony Friday, June 4th. I guess they're going ahead with that this weekend, or this Friday. Seniors drive-by parade on Wednesday, June 9th. Seniors appreciation handouts at IGA will be on, June 8th to 12th?
12th.
Yeah, or 11th or 12th?
The 11th, because
It's 4 days. 4 or 5 days, Ann?
The We've Noticed campaign for good-looking yards will be happening last week of July. And we know that as soon as the public knows about that they start to spruce up their yards and it makes everything nice. Recruiting for new board and youth reps for community services. Unfortunately, one of our present youth reps, Everett Graham, will be moving on to post-secondary studies in Kelowna, BC. Good luck in all his future ventures. Thursday, May 27th, the town planting bee. I was part of that, digging holes in dirt. And Saturday, May 29th, the NLLS board meeting was a Zoom meeting. It was very well organized with new executive director James McDonald. And they did have a point of order that came up that extended the meeting 25 minutes. It was absolutely nuts. Outside of that, the meeting was really well held. Thank you.
Good, excellent. Councilor McQuaid.
Our last regular council meeting, I attended the council of the whole on May 25th, as well as the interviews that day. I also attended the town planning bee on May 27th, and I'd like to thank all the volunteers who showed up to plant flowers around town. But more importantly, I'd like to say a special thank you to all the staff organization that went into planning and preparing for the event. Nothing is worse than attending to volunteer and not having any clear instruction or direction, or to find out that you're not needed. So thank you to the community services team for putting the event together in a neat and tidy package. Thank you. Monday, May 31st, I attended a lowering of the town's flag to honor the youth who were found in the unmarked graves at the residential school site in Kamloops, BC. Original information has suggested 215 unmarked graves have been located, and there will now be an investigation into identifying each of the subjects. For those families missing those loved ones, this discovery has ripped open unimaginable wounds, and I have no idea how those will ever heal. Simply offering condolences doesn't seem enough. This atrocity, however, I am afraid is doomed to be repeated at other locations across our nation, and in all likelihood, many of the responsible parties will never be identified. Our flags will remain lowered for 1 hour for each victim of this singular school incident. Monday, May 31st, I attended a virtual meeting in the North Capital Region Water Commission, as mentioned by Councillor Olson. Final reviews. I didn't anticipate this to be as interesting as it turned out to be. It certainly took on a whole bunch of different twists and what have you. But we looked at everything from proportionate voting privileges through to adjusted net book value on depreciated assets. So it certainly had its moments, to say the least. Today, I noted that the graduating class of 2021 pictures are on our electronic board downtown, and although I am not sure how that has transpired, I'm very glad to see that happening. There may be some reprieve for a very late graduation ceremony, and I feel sorry for the grads who, for a second year, are not able to celebrate as we normally would anticipate. But congratulations to the staff, parents, and the grads, as this is indeed a milestone for them all. And I'd like to take note that the golf course has undertaken what I believe to be the final phase of their drainage program. As council will recall, last year we were asked to adjust the conditions of our grant that we were holding for the volunteer-run organization. Over the last 2 weeks, the club has mustered volunteer workers and equipment so that they could lay more than I believe it's 120 rolls.
It's 120,000 square feet.
So 120,000 square feet of sod have been laid in the last 10 days, week at that. Their entire irrigation system is up and running. Fairways 1, 6, and 9 are looking good. So the project itself has taken hundreds of man-hours and many donations to be completed, but congratulations to the club and its directors who have worked tirelessly to make the course attractive. As many are aware, this facility is a tremendous draw to our community. And I think a thank you to them too for making sure that they included us in their planning and their programs, because working in isolation doesn't work. So I think we've seen a good project there. That's my report, Your Worship.
Thank you. Well, since the last meeting, I haven't done anything. Actually, that's not true.
Don't that very much.
Attended the cow meeting and the interviews. I was here to lower the flags. This morning I had a meeting with Don Obrowski, one of the principals of Gulfside, and he hopes that in the next week to 10 days he'll have decision from their trustee as to whether or not he gets the property. He'll be out again next week. He's got some people out there working, trying to clean it up and smooth it up. And what he's planning on doing in the short term is he's gonna put a bunch of dirt down and plant some lawn grass in there. So it's easier to keep clean and mow. And that'll certainly be an addition for it. And that's all. Like I say, I've been busy, but I haven't done anything. And I'm looking for a motion to accept reports. Councilor Butcher, thank you. All in favor? And we have all these correspondence items. Everybody got a chance to look over. None of them are needing replies to or anything. So I'm looking for a motion to accept correspondence. Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Now, we have an in-camera closed session. I would like to
Take a 5-minute recess before we go in, you were?
take a 5-minute recess and come back and we'll go into closed session.
Okay.